Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. Here we are going to look at the interview of Mr. Zuma with Tsidi. Tsidi had an interview with Mr. Zuma in Kandla. It was a very educational, informative interview. You know what I like about the interview? Tsidi was there to dig some more information and to understand where Mr. Zuma, the state of mind of Mr. Zuma. Because the question she was asking, a lot of people have been waiting for those answers from Mr. Zuma. As we know, Mr. Zuma is a chess player. He dodged a lot of questions that he didn't want to answer them purposely because he didn't want people to understand his state of mind. But when Tsidi defeated Mr. Zuma, it's when she was asking Mr. Zuma about going to parliament to elect the speaker and the president. You know, Mr. Zuma almost let everything go, but though he didn't let everything go, but he just said something that actually you will figure out that this is their position. And looking at the issue of Jablani going to parliament, Tsidi did a very beautiful question asking that one. And Tsidi, when she was asking Mr. Zuma question, she had a kind of respect, understanding that as an old man, you need kind of respect in his home. Though sometimes, Zuma always try to open up to make you feel comfortable in asking questions. She's kind of, when you get close to Mr. Zuma, I've got close to Mr. Zuma when he announced that he was not going to vote for the ANC. On that day, I was there. And I remember talking to Tsidi. Mr. Zuma, if you want to know this guy, I think it's hard to, at a distance, he's a hard man to come close to. But once you are close to him, he's a guy that is charming, nice, calm, cool. You can even start to disrespect him the way he's so charming because he's kind of a nice guy. People like this are very dangerous because they have a limit. When they cut off the line, they just mean that. So, I watched the first interview for one year. There's a lady who went there, I've forgotten her name, who went to interview Mr. Zuma. They walk around the yard of Mr. Zuma. It was kind of different. The difference, it was a very entertaining one, and it was a very nice interview to watch, as well as this one. But Tsidi, I think kind of, she has a kind of that humor. Because the way she asks questions, and when she, there's something about Tsidi. When she asks questions that I notice, she always keep her eye on your face to see how you respond to the question. Like if she feels like this question I feel is not right, I don't think she goes on asking the same question because she can read you from a distance. There's one thing I've noticed about her. But that was a beautiful interview. And ukuthi angazithi ngathi uZuma umuntu onjani because indoda nje ihlala ihleka, but depending who is around his circles, because there is no interview of Zuma where more special for the two ladies who have just gone to Tsidi and the first one who went there, they've been just, everything was nice. They were laughing, joking with some things, and you could see that Zuma is just comfortable with those people. But whenever he answers questions, he keeps everything around his chest. He doesn't open up to everything because he doesn't want people to understand what is the next step. There's something that I noticed about Mr. Zuma when he talking to a lot of political parties before, because he was choosing who to talk to. And I'm surprised he didn't even talk to Mahashule. But Mahashule used to say that he used to meet Mr. Zuma even before Mahashule was expelled from ANC. He did consult some of the elders, and he did go to Mr. Zuma, Mbeki, and all this. He did say something like that, I remember. But so I think Mahashule, if he dropped his pride, he would have just joined Zuma and they made a political party. Now things will be okay with them. But he decided to take the other way around and even refused to join the EFF. That was his decision. He's an old man. He has his own decision. He calculates like every human being. You calculate and see what will be the problem if I do this and what. But sometimes you misstep. You just miss some steps. Your calculation just go bad for any human being. It's not only him. But I really like the interview of TD and Mr. Zuma. Zuma is a charming guy. He speaks his mind. He likes politics. He even say it's running in his veins, in his marrow, and everywhere. He doesn't have love of politics. He is politics. Because there is a difference. Because some people they like politics or they love politics because it will pay off at the end of the day. But for him, he's been in the struggle for the longest time, it's over 60 years if I'm not mistaken. He's been with the ANC and he's been in the struggle for some time. So that shows how strong that man is. And another thing that made me wonder, if Cyril Ramaphosa did get some kind of idea who he was dealing with, he would have done things differently. Knowing he's been a deputy, he worked with this man for some time, Mr. Zuma, but he decided to go the other route and taking the country down like he has done now. He has taken down the ANC because of stupid decisions. Anyway, this was a really amazing interview of TD talking to Zuma. And Zuma is comfortable sitting at Nkandla. He has no problem being there.
Former President, thank you so much for making time to chat to us. Welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you.
You are the great disruptor. People might make an argument that Paul suggested you do as well as you did. Many of us went, it's impossible. Cope did well. EFF sustained its arrival, but I don't think people saw over 2 million votes. The MK's launch has been quite spectacular. I want to understand, how does one even go about it? I was there in Soweto when you launched the MK, where you announced that you can no longer vote for the ANC. But I did not think it would result in sitting at the IEC and watching the numbers telling the way that they did. How do you even go about it? How do you even start to try and launch something against the so-called mighty ANC?
I did not disrupt. I just want to disagree there.
Disruption, but okay.
I did not disrupt. I just established a political party to contest to other parties. And I had very serious reasons why I did so. Firstly, I think it is important to take into account that I am a politician. Not just the politicians by loving it or being whatever. I am a politician. I think politics. I plan politics, strategy, tactics, and everything. So it's not a small matter. And I would not have tried it if I knew it was not going to work. I did so because I knew it well, for a variety of reasons, that one day when I write my book, I would tell a full story and what happened, etc. Firstly, I come from the freedom fighting kind of grouping. I fought for my freedom in this country, for freedom of black people. And in the process of all of that, in fact, I could even go back. But if you know, the last battle of black and white ended here at Nkandla. The last one, the Bambata Rebellion, which changed the thinking of how do we fight for our struggle. That's what led to the establishment of politics in South Africa from the black people in particular. And the stories about that war were told here by older people, how ruthless the British were in the camps that were putting people and what they were doing to them. That is where my what you call it, the first things that put me into politics. So getting into politics was not that target you just because I love politics. It was because of what had happened to a black person in this country that made me to join the struggle at my young age, to fight for the liberation or freedom of black people. It is in my blood, it is in my vein, it is in my marrow. It's not a joke. I'm not doing it because I want to make money. I don't want to do it because I just want to do good. It is a very genuine desire to liberate a black person. And that will take you back to slavery. That I think about what has been done to black people. The most devastating behavior towards them. And therefore, to me, if I go to the struggle, it's not because I love it. It's because I want to change the lives of people. So it is a serious matter. And that led me to know politics deeper. Because they are politicians, not just politicians.
Or in for a career.
For careers, others. And politics is a serious thing. It comes from very far. Now, when I took the decision that I'm ready to lose my love for the freedom of our black people, it was not a joke. That's why I joined in 1961. I mean, not 61, after 1961, 1962.
Okay.
It was wesizwe as a liberation movement, or the kind of different fight than non-violent.
When you took up the armed, yes.
Then, and I became a soldier of MK.
Help me marry that vision, right, with the MK as you have it now as a political party. Help me understand how you've evolved from that person who was under the ANC, who understood why he needed to fight for a particular vision. You are today, and what it is that you're fighting for with the MK party.
At that time, as you know, and I've explained this at some point, there was African National Congress, the ANC. It was the only party that was established in 1912 as a response to the white separation and apartheid and the color bar and whatever you call it. Because the organization was growing and growing and growing, when the National Party government came into power, they then said they are not going to have a soft color bar that was being done by the British. They brought apartheid. You are a kafir, you are a kafir, to your corner. They said so themselves. And that in itself led to the situation where they came to a point to ban an illegal organization, African National Congress,
Which
which was fighting non-violent struggle. And that's what made us to say we cannot stand for this. And therefore, an alternative kind of an organization, well, it was clear they wanted to fight. And the ANC and the liberation movement at the time said, let us do it. And there was then an establishment well thought out of wesizwe as a military wing of the struggle in South Africa.
Yes.
Military wing. And therefore we were taking arms. We went to train, we joined, we took a vow, we took an oath and everything. We were ready to fight and die. And many did so. That then led to a long, prolonged struggle that came to a point where particularly the whites, particularly put under pressure by the Western countries that they must agree to negotiate and stop the fight and find a way to sit together. That's what led to what we call, people call Kodesa.
Yes.
That was now to say, stop the war, find a way to live together. That's what we did. With process going forward, well, there are a lot of details there. Then we reached a point where the party that was established to liberate people began to move off the rail. And the leaders began to be the ones who are in charge, who are doing everything they love. And therefore the process to finalize our freedom was lost. And the leaders were not listening, even if we wanted to listen to. My organization, which I had spent more than 60 years in it became difficult. It became very funny. And you could not correct it. When I write my book, I will explain the details. Not now, because
we've been waiting for this book for so long.
No, it's coming. Don't worry.
But let's speak about it.
Come when you're an old lady.
But let's speak about that. So you felt that the leadership derailed away from the vision of what, the National Democratic Revolution? Is that where the ANC got lost? When did you realize that the leadership of the ANC has derailed from the vision? After you were done?
Quite a while.
While you were still president?
As soon as no. When I was a president, it was not delayed. It was not derailed.
So after 2017,
I was removed before I finished my terms. Specifically because I was moving to the direction that ANC was established for. I was removed.
As head of state or as ANC president?
As a head of state.
So that's 2018. And I think you've had this conversation with Ziyanda from Newsroom about you being removed, about former President Thabo Mbeki. I want to come back to the part where you say it was derailed and you attempted to speak to the leadership of the ANC and you ignored. Is that it?
Absolutely. I was. It ended up with me even moving away from attending the meetings where I was in terms of our agreement.
An ex officio.
An ex officio. Because I realized that if I stay there, all the wrong things that were happening, I will also be blamed. Why were you there? Because I did not want to say to people, do this and become like a hardy to them. So I gave them an opportunity. But they continued until the point where it became impossible. I went into the last conference, not as a former president of the ANC. I went there as a member of my own branch from here because I wanted to argue things. I was prevented, I could not do so. And I had no alternative. I took a decision. This organization is no longer the organization I know. That's why I call it Ramaphosa ANC.
We'll get to the Ramaphosa factor. So it was when you left NASREC 2.0 in 2022 that you knew you needed to start a different organization outside of the ANC.
No. Not at that time when I was up there. The last conference of the ANC, the very last.
The NASREC, the second NASREC 2.0.
The second.
In 2022, yes, the second NASREC.
Yeah.
So when you left there, were you a branch? I remember you were in the crowd with the KZN delegates as a branch member. So it was at that conference when you walked out and you said, I need to do something about the ANC from outside. Not when I was there. Much as many things were going wrong, but I was ready to debate. And I was not given a chance to debate in the plenary. And then I was directed that I must debate whatever I wanted to debate in the commissions. I went there reluctant because I thought this was not right. But I debated my issues there. Those issues when the reports were given, nothing was mentioned of serious issues that I had raised. In fact, the ANC did something that it has never done since 1912. To say in a conference, we are postponing the conference. We'll come next time, next conference to finish off, which deprived me of the debate that I had made in the commission, which I wanted it to be discussed in the conference.
And that thing that they will be debate, there was never any conference thereafter. What was there called the conference were different meetings held at the same time in different places. The National Executive Committee and the provinces. That is not a conference. And even then, we're not allowed even to debate that. And it was clear to me that this ANC is indeed something else. That's when I took a decision to say this organization, firstly, as a result of its behavior, the people were telling us they're not going to vote for us as long as we have got Cyril Ramaphosa as the president. So it was an open thing. Now, I could not allow that. That's why I took a decision that I'm not going to vote for them, but I'm not going to leave politics. And I must find a way how to stop the ANC from the direction it is taking.
But there were people within the ANC who were incredibly loyal to you that were thrown off at the announcement of the MK party. I'm thinking about your Batabile Dlaminis, your Mzwandile Masinas, Nomvula Mokonyane, the Supra Mahuma Pelos, people who had been loudly, boldly team Jacob Zuma for years, who were seemingly taken by surprise. Did you take those people into your confidence when you were plotting or planning the idea of the MK party?
I was doing what is called underground. Underground, you don't just tell a story. I chose the people I was going to deal with, that I worked with. Because I now, if I had told people, that thing would not have worked. I went underground, applied my tactics, applied my underground training in order to get where I am.
And Ace Makashvili was already kicked out of the ANC. He was already left out in the cold. I mean, when I look at the election results, ACT was dismal, so to speak. Why wasn't he taken along the ride?
Who?
Ace Makashvili?
I don't want to talk about that one. Let me not answer that one. Because I don't want to talk about Ace Makashvili.
Okay, I'm going to move on from him.
But maybe let me be fair to you.
Sure.
I did inform Makashvili. I did, not once. I did. It's just that I must not go any further.
And he still went on to establish ACT.
Exactly.
When you were at a big Orlando Stadium event, he was at a church holding a manifesto. And I actually asked him about it. I was like, why would you hold competing events when you are meant to be aligned? And I don't know if I got a satisfactory answer. I want to speak now to you about the Ramaphosa issue. This Ramaphosa, ANC of Ramaphosa that you speak about. It is a message that's clearly caught people's attention. It's worked. We see the election results. What has he done so bad in your eyes that you can't let up, that you can't let go, that it is consistent, that what is wrong with the ANC has to be this man at the helm at the moment?
He misled the ANC. He has never led the ANC properly. I don't want to go further than that. And that's why I call it the Ramaphosa ANC. I don't want to deal with details of Ramaphosa. That's not my intention.
It's very hard when you say,
now.
oh, at least for now. It's very hard when you do that because what we hear as the public is there's an issue with the ANC and it's this man at the helm. When you ask for an understanding, you don't want to delve deeply into it. You don't want to take us into full confidence about what has gone wrong. I'm not going to say to you, you chose him as your deputy. You said in the public before, but they brought him to you during the Mangaung conference to make him your number 2. I still don't know if saying to me he's misled us is sufficient. I still feel like I'm missing something because when I look at you, it feels like you're going to great lengths, starting another party, and asking for people to vote for that to make sure they bring a party you serve for well over 60 years under. That sounds like vengeance, yeah. It's more than just the surface level or we dislike you. It feels deeper than that. So that's why I keep asking for a little bit more around what the issue is around the current ANC president.
No, I've said to you, my good sister, the leadership of the ANC was no longer listening to itself, listening to its party rather, to its party, and making a lot of decisions that were taking the ANC away from where we need to be. Now, one of the issues I raised, why I call it The problem was with the leadership. Was leaders historically in the ANC, if the leader was doing something wrong, other leaders will deal with the matter and correct it. You had leaders that were no longer correcting anything, and their reasons, they feared this man on a number of issues. These are the matters I don't want to deal with it at this stage.
Do you know there was a time where they said the same thing, the exact same thing about you?
Sorry?
Do you know there was a time they said the exact same thing about you? In the lead up to 2017, they would say, we can't correct him internally. The NEC is paralyzed because they fear their president. They used to say the exact same thing about you when you were leader.
Well, that is their own business. What I did when I was in charge, I changed things in this country, and they're written down. I came with everything, and some people hated that, where they did not want me to change this country. That was a hatred, if at all they hated me. I have never terrorized anyone. I'm the most sweet.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
I'll make up my mind at the end of this interview.
Okay.
You speak about I've now lost my train of thought. You lost me there by telling me you're sweet when no, actually I'm going somewhere.
I'm just sweet.
No, let's see. This bid to show that there's something wrong with the ANC. Where does it stop? Because South Africans also watch this war between different kinds of ANC and worry that it will take the country down with it. What do you say to South Africans who say, geez, how long will these former statesmen, these leaders fight? At what cost will you continue in a fight to prove your point that there's something wrong with the ANC?
No. I've never fought anybody in the ANC. Never.
You're fighting Ramaphosa now, even through the ballots.
As I'm saying, I'm a very sweet person. If I was fighting him, I wouldn't be sweet. He wouldn't be where he is. If I was, I'm very sweet. And I've never fought Ramaphosa. I've criticized Ramaphosa where he's going wrong. For an example, like when he said the ANC was #1 corrupt organization, I wrote a response.
I remember that.
To say no. I was not fighting him. I was just telling him you are wrong. That's not the way. I also can tell you something you don't know. Maybe just one piece was we are looking for.
Yes, I want.
when a campaign by the ANC, which included him, were saying I must resign from the ANC before I finished what you call.
Before 2017.
Yes. I realized that this is going to make the ANC fight within itself. On my own, I asked to see him to discuss that matter with his secretary, Mahashul. And I met with them in Cape Town. And I said, I've taken my decision to resign as the president of the ANC. Because I don't want the ANC to fight because of me. So I've taken a decision to resign. I then explained how I was going to do it and what will I do and every other thing. And I said, I'm trying to avoid the fight within the ANC. And I said, report it to the National Executive Committee, and this is what I think we should do. I'm ready to go. When I'm leaving, this is what I want to do. I gave him the period and the reasons why. He never came back to me even to report what was the response of the leadership.
But this is now a decision to resign from head of state after 2017.
Yes.
Okay.
And that, and he will tell you, because it did not come back to me until we had a meeting with the officials later. And I said to him on that day, I said, never meet me, never ask to see me. I said it in a meeting of the official, top 6. Because you have disappointed, we are not a leader. I told him he's not a leader, don't respect him. Because I gave him a serious discussion to make the organization not fight. And it disappeared, he never came back.
Can I ask you?
Reported. And I said, sorry. Because for me, you have proved that you are not the leader.
Can I ask you when this actually happened? Because You stepped down as head of state in February of 2018. He became ANC president December 2017. So this is a conversation and deliberations between those two windows. Do you remember when it was exactly?
No. When I said that, he was the president already. I had been out for a while. That meeting itself, not that was called by him. I went to brief my leaders in the province what had happened. They then went to the National Executive Committee because they were hearing this for the first time, as we are hearing it for the first time.
I'm a little bit confused by the timeline. That's why I'm a little looking at you like this. Yes.
No, I was no longer there. I was sitting here. I just felt I needed to go and brief the leaders.
To inform them that you actually did try to resign before and you took it nowhere.
Who?
You told them that you had told
No,
Ramaphosa.
I told them what I'm telling you.
Yes.
Yeah, I told them. And I said, this has been my problem with them. I needed them to know, because they mustn't see me having a different behavior. They must know exactly. And they then went to raise the matter. And then that's what led to the meeting of the working committee, where I told him, I don't trust him. I don't think he's a serious leader. I told him that it was necessary for me to do so. I'm just explaining to you so that you shouldn't say I'm just talking. There are things that I discussed with him properly, politically, and otherwise.
I want to go back to the question I was trying to ask you now. You say you're not fighting, but actually, when you start a political party to take down the governing party, that is a fight, whichever way you want to describe it.
Fight.
What is it?
No. You can't say all these parties that split, they're fighting. They are not.
You're
fighting.
competing. You're in a space where you're in competition.
Competing and fighting, they're two different things.
Come see, come side. Depends on the day. Okay, let's put it this way. You start an organization to compete with the governing
not
party.
To compete.
It must be something.
An organization in order to correct this country. In my speech,
Are you correcting the country or correcting the ANC?
Oh, in the speeches that I've made, I've said I want to rescue the ANC. Can't be fighting it.
So in your bid to rescue the ANC, the question some of us as a country have is, will we pay the price of you attempting to rescue the ANC?
Not at all. You will actually be happy. As you can see how happy South Africans are today with wesizwe. You will be happy.
We are not happy. We're in limbo. We don't have an outright party that's won the elections. None of those parties won the elections. There's no outright winner. We don't know how governments are going to be formed. We don't know whether or not we should be scared. I don't believe the markets must dictate how we are as a country. I believe a political party that cares about our well-being matters the most.
Only if they had counted the votes of MK, there would be no problem.
Would we have a party that cares about us, though, if that was the case? If the two-thirds majority that the MK has been selling us was actually the truth, would we be well taken care of as a country? I still don't know that.
You will feel, if by now you will be feeling that we are now there.
I don't know, because I also don't agree, and I'm a little bit confused about your policies, but I'll talk to you about that in 2 seconds.
No? You shouldn't. If you're an African, you shouldn't.
I am an African. You posture left, but your policies are right. So I'm a little bit confused.
No,
your policies aren't
right.
They're not progressive.
They're progressive.
No, not all of them.
We are talking about free education. Is that not progressive?
We're talking about
when black children can't study, when there is enough money. You can't tell me that. If we say we're
talking about sending pregnant girls to a Robben Island. We're talking about the things that you've spoken about are not necessarily things that are progressive. We're speaking about queer rights. We're speaking about...
No, listen. I'm not sending them to Robben Island to prison. That they must have forced education so that they are educated, they can come and be useful in this country.
We're talking about
saying you can't have little kids of 15 having children all over this country. And we think that...
No, but you also can't punish them. I'm not saying it's freedom, but you also can't punish them. In fact, those children have been raped.
No,
that's actually what it is.
I'm not punishing them. I'm forcing them to study and be the doctors and everything and come back and serve this country.
But that's also not.
You must have time to debate this with me.
Let's have a day. No, let's have a day, because we can take each other on there. I firmly believe that the MK party postures left but isn't left. We'll talk about it another day, because then we must add the issue of ethno-nationalism to the conversation.
I want to help you, because you will realize we are built in South Africa. All your black kids are drinking from morning to day.
We don't want that for them.
Eh?
We don't want them for. We don't want that for them. We don't want our children hooked on substance
That's
abuse.
why
So they.
We are the only party that has talked about it.
No, you're not. Because I've read so many manifestos. I'm going to say no, you're not. But I want to move away from that. So you say to me that there would be some stability if the MK party was in. But I'm saying to you, South Africans feel that this issue that you have with the ANC is one that could actually still cost the country, that we are torn between different aspects, factions, permutations of the ANC that are fighting each other, competing, correcting, whichever way you want to put it. But you have two different views from the ANC that are clashing at the expense of the country.
Which are these views?
One that is carried by you via the MK party now.
I'm not in the ANC in that way. I remain with my membership there. I said so. I am a leader of wesizwe to correct the wrongs. And partly, the ANC, under the leadership we have now, they are the ones who need to be corrected. And you know that in the policy of the ANC, we say we've got a freedom charter,
Yes.
which your ANC has forgotten about. Nothing's being done, which will change the lives of the people in this country. And this is what we're going to do, to carry out the correct policies that were decided by the people of South Africa, not just by the ANC.
So the view that you are testing institutions of democracy to prove a point is unfair, or is it fair?
Which one? Democracy now.
The view that you're testing, the tenets that are upholding our democracy to prove a point, is that accurate? This is now obviously looking at the courts, looking at the IEC. Is that a correct assumption? That, look, here's a person who's testing the very might of these institutions and their ability to do their job.
The IEC took our votes, gave them to other parties. That's not democracy. That's not democracy. The IEC said there was a crash.
Of the dashboard.
When there was no crash, when they were taking our vote, we've got evidence. That's why I've charged them.
So you've gone the legal route.
That is democracy.
No, you've gone the legal
When we
route.
say don't start saying you are now giving the numbers, because we are complaining. We are a long list of parties. They don't listen. That's not democracy. I disagree with you. That's not democracy.
It's not democracy.
No.
What you are doing is democracy.
Absolutely.
There are around 50.
I want the truth to be told. Who actually won? We don't know right now. That's a reality we are dealing with from wesizwe. We want the truth. We want people to deal with things properly. We want people to respect other people.
You're not satisfied with the 2 million odd votes. You believe you are owed more.
Absolutely. Not that I believe. I know. I told them I've got facts. And I've got facts.
As a result, your 58 MPs, are they going to Parliament? Are they not going? How long will they not go if they're not going?
No. If there is a law that says if there is no, what is it called?
Which one? I don't know what you're referring to. Even tell me. If there's a law that is called what? Are we speaking about the election of a president, the speaker? Are we speaking about the declaration of the elections?
Yes.
Which one are we going to?
Done when
The declaration.
When there is a huge number that is not in Parliament.
Or the election of a president, yes, it can be done.
Can't.
130 MPs need to be in that house. There will be 130 without your 58.
No.
I'm willing to take a bet on that one with you.
If there are chairs that are empty,
There'll be quorum.
there is no quorum.
Are you going to take other MPs from other parties and ask them not to attend?
We are all complaining. It's not only me.
But the party parties that are complaining alongside you are parties that Busara, that are 4,000 votes. ACT, that's got how many? 13,000. The parties that are complaining are not in parliament. They're not in seats.
Our membership, if MK is not there, there's no quorum in parliament.
I beg to differ, but let's wait and see.
Let's wait and see.
If I'm right, what happens?
I've been in parliament, my dear.
I haven't been, but I feel like I'm right.
I've been there before.
If I'm right, what happens? And if I'm right,
I'll give you a cow.
oh my God, I want my cow. But I know you want me. Please deliver a cow to the east of Johannesburg because you want me a cow.
I don't know where I would put it.
We'll find space in my father's yard. Don't you worry, but you owe me a cow. Where does it end for you? This issue. No, before I actually get there, let's speak a little bit about Jabulani Khumalo. Yes, it's a court matter, but he's actually on your parliamentary list. So as it is, it hasn't been altered.
We are taking him out.
You missed the deadline to alter it.
No, we're taking him out. Don't worry. We can't sit with. It's not he is not in our party. We chased him out of our party. There's no democracy that can say somebody can come in Ghana or die him. He's not a member.
You know how parliament works, as you said, you've been in parliament, I haven't. You know that you have to resign once your name is in. You can't be fired. He has to write a resignation letter and remove himself. I saw the list today.
That's part of cockeyed democracy. Because you can't have a man who's chased out from his party and he sits there by force because the word called democracy must do so. Where do you get that from? It's not in our party. He was chased away. Here's a letter was written. I gave him. We were sitting here when I gave it.
I heard about that meeting. So what happens when he goes to parliament and he sits there? 57 of your members are not there.
Our party is not going to agree. There is no parliament that's going to force you with a member who's not your party. It can't be. He can go there to show his stupidity.
Okay. So that's the issue of Jabulani Khumalo. You are clear on that. What if he wins the court case?
He can't win the court case. He can't.
What if he does?
No, he can't. I told you. He can't. Because he's lying. He's a liar.
Mr. Zuma, let's speak a little bit about other parties like the EFF, for instance.
Why should I discuss other parties?
I'm going to speak about coalitions. I'm going to ask coalitions.
I don't want to discuss other parties here. No.
I feel like I must give up. No, let's speak about. No, I'm not going to give up. Actually, I've got another one. It's fine. I've got another one. Let's speak a little bit about coalitions. The ANC looks like it's leaning towards a government of national unity. Some people are speaking about a minority government. I've heard they've attempted to call the MK party to ask for you to come on board. Have you received calls from the ANC? What is your position?
No, I'm not sure. I don't know. Normally, I don't want to discuss other people. General is not my habit. I think all parties are meeting and talking to one another. Let us leave it at that, rather than to isolate others and say, oh, this one, blah, blah, blah. I think at the moment, nobody can say I'm making a government because I'm majority. That's natural. It's going to call people to talk in order to have enough numbers to establish a government.
They'll call you, maybe, if they do.
They've been calling me.
Or have you been answering their phone calls?
No, not yet. I know they did not necessarily call me by phone. They send people to say they're keen to talk to me.
Your response is?
I'm still here. I'm still dealing with the issues of not correcting dealing with the counting and everything. That's what. But I'm not saying I'm not going to talk to other party. Whatever happens, we'll be talking to the party. I have been talking to the parties even long before I made an announcement. Because I knew where I was going. I'm very clear. I'm not doing this for the sake of winning, but I'm doing this to correct our situation that is not complete, that we as black people were not free. I can give you litany of the reasons why. That's what I'm dealing with. I'm not dealing with wanting to leak now or whatever. I'm dealing with the whole issue of us not being free. I come from jail without a case Or the judges were angry with me because I was telling them the truth. And they took me to prison.
This is for being in contempt of the Constitutional Court.
Exactly.
For being in contempt of
No,
the Constitutional
that is
Court.
their own reason. Their judge was doing that thing we are talking about.
I still say to you, that one is for being in contempt of the Constitutional Court. That's how I understood it.
You want me to tell you this?
No, I don't want you to tell me the story. I want us to move to other things. Because we don't have time.
There is a law in South Africa that says if you are in a commission or somewhere, you say to whoever is chairing, I don't want to because you are not going to be
impartial
to me. What does the law says? What must that person do?
Consider it. They don't owe you a yes. They must consider it.
You can't. By law, if I say I don't trust you, you are going to be biased with me. You can't force yourself to go. The law does not say so.
But I want to, that's...
No, I'm telling you.
I'm hearing you.
That's where the problem begins.
I'm hearing you about where the problem begins.
Instead of giving it to somebody else.
Chief Justice Raymond Zondo.
Exactly. And he uses of being a Chief Justice to instruct his people to charge me and to sentence me to 2 years. There's never such a thing in any democracy, in any situation. So I couldn't be those judges by not helping him. They were themselves doing the wrong thing.
Are you
I'm not coming to your court if that's the case. I fought for this freedom. They didn't.
Are you angry about the way that was handled?
Absolutely.
Do you remain angry?
Absolutely. I will remain angry until I die. Because they were wrong. They were totally wrong. The judge first was wrong. They were wrong. And I will never accept it. Even today, they can repeat it. I will go to jail. If their jail is to put people there who have no crime just because they are hated.
That goes to my earlier question when I said to you, to what end? I asked you if it's vengeance earlier on.
What was it?
I asked you whether or not some of the things that you're doing are because you're angry and it's vengeance.
At all.
So when you say you'll be angry until you die, I then ask you, is that what your driving force?
Because the judges are there to be honest, to judge people properly. If they don't do it, they're not going to be my friends.
I'm gonna go back to the issue of coalitions because that's where we were. Simphiwe Nyanda has written a letter.
Who?
Simphiwe Nyanda, General Nyanda. He says it's an outrageous idea that the ANC would want to talk to the MKP about coalitions. The same Nyanda, let me finish. The same Nyanda who celebrated your win back in Polokwane in 2007. When you watch that, where a completely different attitude has been taken, posture to who you are then versus now, what comes to mind?
Nothing serious come to mind. That's not my worry. Of Nyanda, it's not my worry.
And then everybody says you got rid of ZUMA because of state capture. If you allow him back in, you're opening the door back to what went wrong during his term of office. What do you say?
Whose term of office?
There are people who also say if the NC seeks to work with you, because some in the NC want to work with the MK party. Others say, if you do that, you're opening the door back for state capture to happen. We are past that.
I don't even know what the state capture really. Because in my own language, I don't understand. Because if you want to talk about the state capture, you are talking about parliament, executive, and judiciary. If these three were captured, they couldn't study, themselves, deal with themselves. It does not make sense. I said this even when it was being said, the state capture. What does it mean? Was it mean those three arms are captured? How can they then, it should be them who look after the case. What have you done? It's madness in my view.
I'm almost done. I really am. Under what conditions, minus the issue of the president of the ANC, because they said that's a non-negotiable, would you be willing to work with the ANC?
No, that one I'm not going to be answering it because you know very well.
But they said it's a no-go. It's a non-negotiable.
Who is no-go?
Their president is a no-go.
Who?
Their president.
their president
Yes.
is a no-go.
When it comes to negotiations, they're open to talking about everything except for calls for their president to go. So what else?
So
what other conditions?
You can't say you want to negotiate and put conditions even before we talk. That tells you there's something. I don't want to involve myself in that one. You can't say you want to negotiate, but not about our president. What is that? You don't want to negotiate. Because if you want to negotiate, you say, I want to negotiate. You then negotiate. If those issues arise in the process, you can then discuss. You can't put a condition. You want to discuss with me, but put a condition, not this one. It's never done that way, really.
And then my parting shot. A lot of people speak about your relationship with your daughter, and some people feel, particularly in the NC, some people feel that part of what's happening is because she's egging you on. They don't believe it's you. They believe it's your daughter pushing you in this direction. Your response to that?
What does she know about my politics, really? Can I be pushed by my child? Can't you see that there's something wrong with these people? I mean, a child who found me being a politician, I was already in exile. I've been in politics long time ago. I've done a lot of things, including going to prison, taking my decisions. Somebody one day say, it is this child that is making Zuma to be what it is. Shame. Shame, man.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So wait, hold on. You're parliamentarians. They will not go for the election or the voting of a president. When will they go to parliament?
No, if we do so, if there is no quorum, that parliament collapses. It collapses. They can't go there with members who are not there. That's not parliament.
Remember, if they manage to elect a speaker, a deputy, and a president, you owe me a cow. I'll send you my address in the East Rand.
I'll push the cow from here through what do you call a road 3? What is it called? N3.
You must come on the N3. That's right.
On the road. I'm taking you to a lady in Johannesburg.
Thank you so much, former President Jacob Zuma, speaking to us there about a myriad of things. A very difficult person to interview, but anyway, those are some of his thoughts on some of the conversations many are having at this point in time. For Eyewitness News, my name is TD Madia.
Family, what do you think about the interview of Mr. Zuma and CD? Leave your comment respectfully. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Ngiyantanda. Ngithanda ngothando luka love. Bravo, bravo.